everybody, this is Maria Clark and welcome to my studio. Today I have a fun collaboration with Cheryl Row. I hope you enjoy. Let's get started. Hi Cheryl.
Hi Maria.
So glad to be here in your home studio.
Well, thank you for joining me this morning.
This is Maria Clark from Sweet Willow Designs, and I'm on the road here at the home studio of Cheryl Row, who's one of my friends from the Mile High Polymer Clay Guild. We get together about once a month, and then we have a couple of retreats a year. And so it's really been great getting to know you. So I'm so thrilled to be here. I thought what we would do, Cheryl, is talk a little bit about your artistic journey and how you've come to polymer clay and the other activities, because you've got a lot going on.
I do. I have way too much going on, but that's what keeps life fresh. I have started quilting after my retirement, and my love of quilting has grown into embroidering, and not to mention I now have a long arm and I quilt the quilts I actually piece. So I'm able to take my journey from the fabric all the way to a finished product on my own, and that was very important to me.
Yeah. That's really exciting, and I've been able to see your equipment. It's really impressive, but more importantly, the quilts that you've made, and I hope at the end we'll maybe show a couple of those so people get a sense of the kind of work that you're doing, because it's really very impressive, and I know you get a lot of enjoyment out of it, and it brings you a lot of satisfaction.
It does. When I can help a gal finish a quilt that she's worked very hard on to pull together for a special Christmas gift or a anniversary or wedding, it really gives me a lot of satisfaction to get to make that piece. It's spectacular.
Yeah, that's so much fun. Now, how did you come to polymer clay?
Well, as a bag maker, I wanted to have my own buttons.
Oh, great.
I would go to the shops, and to find a button that was the perfect color or the perfect style was somewhat difficult. And it would take a search, and so I thought, well, surely I could make these. So I began making buttons, and I came to the Polymer Clay Mile High Guild as a way of getting more involved in clay and learning. And oh, what a fabulous group we have.
It's a fun group. It's a really great group. I think we have about 80 members now.
Yes.
That's quite a big guild, really.
It's a very impressive group.
Yeah, it really is. Lots of artists in that group.
And lots of sharing, and so many groups. That's the key, is to helping the newbies, like myself, learn how to work with the medium and grow. And I've participated in several swaps, and that kind of leads us to why we're here today.
It absolutely does. So we have these regular swaps, as Cheryl mentioned, and there's usually a theme for each one of the swaps, and we all make something. Those that are participating make something, and then we, one of the guild meetings, we get together and we share what we've made. And I have to tell you, Cheryl, I'm going to step out of frame for just a minute. This is usually how I store my swap items. And I have to be honest with you, it's a waste of great art.
Oh, and they're each individually so beautiful, and you can't admire them.
No, absolutely not. So as Cheryl and I were talking, because there was a swap that was not too long ago, actually maybe a month or so, and we were talking about how we were going about displaying them. And you had done a couple of things that you had been working on in terms of a display. And we thought, well, gosh, we're gonna do a video and do a collaboration on how we would display some of these things so we could really enjoy them.
Well, that's the most important part about art, is don't put it away in a brown paper bag or a drawer or in the closet in the back, but to put it into something that would allow you to display it and look at it frequently and have warm memories about that work that you did and your friends that participated.
That's right. How nice to be able to see it on a regular basis and remember those, have those memories.
Yes.
Yeah, that's really great. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to get a couple of samples of how we've put some of our shared art pieces on display, and then we're actually going to do some projects for you. So we'll be back in just a moment to share some finished pieces and then to get started on actually completing some. Cheryl, we want to kind of take it from this, right, from the paper bag or whatever box or whatever we're keeping our art treasures in, and move it into a really nice display. And you've been working on several different ways to display some of the things you've been collecting. So you want to share with our
Well, one that I've come up with that I enjoy a lot is I use a notepad to keep up with my notes and my sketches for future quilts and projects, and I just didn't want a plain notebook like you buy at the store, so I chose to take fabric, which is my love of medium, and make a cover, then attach some of our inchies that we received in our inchie swatch, which is over a year ago.
Yeah.
This one I got a little carried away with. I introduced an additional medium and added some of the findings that come in making bullets. A friend of mine does his own ammunition, and these are just scraps, and so I talked him out of a bag full, and I thought it really put this piece into a little different mode, and it pops the squares in the center. Again, these inchies were from our Clay Guild swap about a year and a half ago.
Yeah, you know, so what's fun about this is taking unexpected materials like these bullet scraps. I mean, I don't know anyone that makes bullets, but I will see if there's anyone I can find that does, because they're a really nice kind of textural element, and they go just perfectly with the inchies. So thinking about like buttons, if you have buttons that complement the art that you're doing or something like that is fun. I think what's really nice, I remember seeing this at the Guild, one of the Guild meetings that you brought this to, and how fun it was to have a customized cover to your, it's a drawing pad, a sketch pad. And that made a fantastic cover for that. And then I love the idea that you've got here with the notebook. It's so fun to carry something personalized.
And what's really fun is once the sketchbook has reached its capacity and is ready to be retired, this page slides off and makes a wonderful piece that can be framed in a shadow box and added to the wall.
What a great idea. I know I mentioned this to you before. I might have to talk you into showing us how you did this, right? Because it's basic sewing skills, right?
Very simple, for even a beginner.
Yeah. How effective to have a customized cover to your drawing pad and then frame it. Or hang it some way. I think that's wonderful.
Or recycle it to the next one.
That's right. That's right. Really great. Really great. I love the way that slips on like that.
And it just slips on, and presto.
Yeah.
It's a personalized sketchbook.
I love that. I think that's fantastic. So you have some other ideas on how to display some things that you've collected.
Well, one is I ran into this at a thrift shop, and it simply is a silverware tray from IKEA that someone got tired of, and they donated it, and I picked it up at the thrift shop for a couple of bucks. And what a sturdy piece that I could use to display on the wall or in either direction.
Yeah.
This is another piece very similar that I picked up at a recycled craft shop, and for $1 or $2, I have found a couple of wonderful pieces that can be decorated to the motif based on what I'm going to put in them, and that will allow me to get the maximum impact for the art.
Yeah, great idea to check out the thrift stores, because there's so many unique display options, even old picture frames that have maybe a nice design on them, because you can paint. You're going to talk about how to finish these items and how to make them special for the display purposes. I had kind of lucked in to several of these. These are Tim Holtz, their ideology configuration display. They're like little trays, and I'm actually going to hang it on the wall. And you can move these around. So I have several of these, as I said. I was lucky enough to get these at one of our, our Polymer Clay Guild garage sales where people are trying to de-stash. And I was able to take one of those displays and to paint it. And we had done a black and white swap several years ago, and so this is painted with some paper, and I'll put the name of the guild and the date of the swap up here, but these are all of the pieces that were shared during that black and white swap. It's a really effective way to display it. I think it turned out great. So we're going to talk about a project like this. So there are lots of ways and materials that you can use to display your items. And I know that as you were preparing, Cheryl, for our collaboration, you were spending some time on designing, right? Because
Yes.
you're a designer. And sort of working through how you might take the swap materials or other things that you've collected and start to display them. Do you want to walk us through what you were thinking?
Well, first of all, I took the last swap, which was leaves, and beautiful leaves out of Polymer clay, everything from one single leaf to a collection to a actual having a dongle hang on it, a little leaf hangs on it with a little metal and glitz. And I happened to be upstairs in my jewelry box thinking, oh, it's so sad I never get to look at these items. So I pulled out some of old family antique pieces that my aunts and my grandmother have passed down to me over time, and I pulled them out and I started mixing and matching some very old jewelry pieces with some of the leaves from the clay swap that we had this fall. And then I knew that this particular series, which is a brooch, a beautiful brooch and matching earrings that my great aunt had worn in a picture, anniversary picture. So I went and dug the picture out and found it. It was in August of 1948.
Wow.
And I thought, what a stellar way to display that piece of jewelry along with some of the new things that I'm working on, to have a look at that each day in a display box. So what I did is I did a trial run and actually placed them in the box to see how they would look, and they fit fabulously, and it was a nice mixture of new and old.
I think that's so wonderful. I love the idea that you have of mixing the new and the old, and also sort of the handcrafted with sort of more elegant pieces, and how special to have the picture of your aunt. I just think that's fantastic, and I really am looking forward to seeing how that's all going to come together. So you had some ideas, so you've put these pieces together, and I think what's nice about this, you may want to talk a little bit more about this. You've just got it on a sheet of paper, but it's helping you design, so it's similar to this size, right?
And what I did is I actually placed each piece in the box where I thought it would go.
Yeah.
And once I had it positioned the way that I think it was best speaking from each piece, I then took a photograph of it.
Oh, good.
And that way I have that captured so I can come back to that photograph when I'm ready to actually put the pieces in the final time. So now the box has been emptied and it's ready to be prepped.
Good. That's fantastic. So talk a little bit about what you're planning in terms of, are you going to do, what are you going to do to this box? Are you going to paint it? Are you going to prep it in some, what are you thinking?
I'm thinking of painting this white, which would be a neutral medium, giving it so that the box somewhat disappears. And then I would use fabric to highlight the jewelry pieces. At first I had thought black, and then I tried white, and then I tried some different colors. So there's a lot of ways to go, and the best way to do it is to test. To lay the fabric out and put the pieces on it, and go with what your eye speaks to you as what makes the piece pop. And color is so important. So you can play with it for a while. I suggest laying it on the table somewhere where it can be undisturbed for several days, and walk by it and look at it frequently, and then change it out and see what just naturally makes you feel the piece speaking the loudest. And that's how I decide the colors.
Yeah. You know, you gave us a really good tip as you were talking about that, and that was to, you know, you've got the box and you've got the paper that's the size, but you took a photo of it, so you'd be able to come back as a reference. Because I don't know how many times I've laid something out and then start working on it and I cannot remember
how you had
exactly how I had it. So taking a photo is a really good tip.
Yeah,
really
and
great tip.
It's not a big deal, but you need that reference. And believe me, I moved them several times and I took a couple of pictures, but I did finally decide on the key one that I really like the most.
That's great. All right, well, I'm really excited to see what you're going to do. I am going to take, you'll get to see the contents of these bags.
Oh, soon, I hope.
I'm not sure I know or remember exactly what's in here, but we're going to take a look at the bags, and then I'm going to take another one of those boxes that I showed you, and I'm going to follow Cheryl's tips, actually, on kind of laying it out a little bit and seeing what the design might look like. And I am going to paint this one white also, so we're going to have complementary pieces. And then I'll show some background stuff too, so I'm really looking forward to that, Cheryl. Okay. Let's get our materials together and we'll come back and we'll get started on prepping.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, welcome back, everybody. We have been busy. We're going to talk a little bit about what we did to prepare our base shadow boxes or display boxes. And then we're going to take a close look, Cheryl, at what you've been doing and then a close look at what I've been doing. So let's first talk about, well, actually, I won't move this out quite yet. Let's first talk about the preparation, because you went from that natural color to white, and that looks really good. So tell us what you did.
Well, of course, there's sanding and a little touch-up to be sure there aren't any rough edges or any loose wood there, and I just touched it up a smidge. And then Rust-Oleum happened to be what I had. It was white, and that was the color I was going for. So it covered nicely, sprayed evenly, 8 to 10 inches away from the wood box, but lightly. And I think that's the key. People have a tendency to try to want to spray once and cover intensely, and that doesn't work with spray paint. It tends to run and drip. So a nice little light mist, wait a few minutes, a second light mist, and I think we did 3 light mists over the product, and I acquired the right white color, and now the natural wood is white.
Yeah, and that really, as you said, the reason you chose white is to really highlight the items that were going to be in the box. Now, I had never spray painted anything before, and so we went out to your garage and we were able to do my box as well. I have been using I've been painting just with a paintbrush and acrylic paint, and you can certainly do that. But with all of these little boxes, it was very tedious actually to do. So it was nice to be able to use the spray paint, and it was certainly quicker, right?
Yes.
It was a lot quicker and made short work of it. So we were able to get that done pretty easily. So, go ahead, were you going to say?
Well, when you are spray painting, remember to put down newspaper or plastic and cover an area outside of the item you're spraying, just so that you don't get any spray paint on the floor or in the garage somewhere on a car.
Yeah, move the car.
Move the car. So you want to be careful when you're using it to not spray a mist anywhere else.
Okay, good. Really good tips on how to spray paint, and that's a technique that I'm going to start using. I just haven't done very much of it, so it was good to see how easily that worked. So what we're going to do now is we're going to do some close-up, Cheryl, on the work that you've done on your shadow box. And so I'm going to move some of this stuff out of the way here so we can talk a little bit about what you've done specifically. And I'm going to stop for just a moment, adjust the camera so we get a really close look to what you've been working on.
Good. Okay, as Maria said, we've been very busy this afternoon, and I wanted to show you the box as it was finished. It was empty, of course, all of the sections, and what I did is I started taking the fabric that I selected that pops the color on the items and made a little pouch. Stuffed it with the batting, which is just some scrap batting that I had. I used 5 layers of it because I really wanted the products, the items that I've selected for this display box to be closer to the top and not buried deep into the box. So I made a little pouch and then 3 simple seams, and I used some really interesting fusible web, which allows me to iron it on and then iron it, and now I have it closed. I use glue dots to actually hold the fabric into the square so that it doesn't come out, so I can actually tilt the box, hang it on the wall, do whatever I need to do, and this is now stationary in the box. At that point, I took the items that I'm going to display and I began to mount them onto each location in the different sections. And in this section, I have 2 pins that are pinned into the fabric pouch, and I used a couple of fabric buttons that I thought brought a little bit of color to this end. The same over here. We have a couple of pins and some earrings that I took a little pair of snips, a little tiny pair of snips, and I just gently snipped a little bit of the fabric so that I could then wedge the earrings down in so that they are permanently into the actual pouch. Once that was all finished, then I began decorating and continuing to finish until every item was in its place, as I had hoped it would be from some of my practice tests. The last couple pieces that I have here, I've simply attached a glue spot to the back, and I am then positioning it and pushing down gently, and now it is attached to the fabric pouch, and it's ready to hang on the wall or to leave on a table or a shelf, and easy to look at and easy to move. Nothing is going to change where it is. So I feel that I accomplished the mission, which was to display some of my family historical pieces of jewelry, and included some of the pieces from our leaf swap, and kept the green theme going throughout the piece, as well as some of the jewelry picked up the green. So I think by the balance in the box, I've got a couple of large pieces on this end, a couple of large pieces here, and one opposite each other here, and then there'll be another piece which is right here. I'll add that, and a couple of earrings that go with it, and so I have balance in the shadow box, which is very important. You don't want all the heavy pieces on one end of the box and the little pieces down here. So you want to have the pieces balanced so that your eye can move evenly over the collection.
Mm-hmm. And I think it turned out great, Cheryl. I think it looks really nice, and I like the sparkle of the vintage pieces with the polymer clay. I thought really turned out great.
Yeah, it did come together, and I think, again, it's the choice of the fabric and the box, and trial and error, and practice placing items in the box until you have the perfect balance.
Mm-hmm. That sounds great. Well, we're going to move over now to what I did with my shadow box, and I'm going to just put a few things into the frame here, and Cheryl and I will switch places. Mm-hmm. And I'll show you just a couple of the techniques that I used. You don't want to see too much of this. It's kind of like watching paint dry, actually. But there are a few things that I wanted to share with you in terms of how I ultimately put this box together. And this one has lots of teeny little cubby holes. The items that we've got here are from the heart swap. Cheryl and I both participated in this swap, and this one's mine and this one's Cheryl's, and so and then all of our other guild mates. So a couple of things that I wanted to show you with this. Of course, it was painted because it's that sort of tan color, and it has just been transformed to white. But there are a few things that I wanted to share with you about how this came together. Cheryl used the fabric pieces because that's her love. She has fabric and she loves to work with it. I used some scrapbook paper actually to get a variety of patterns in this box. And what's nice is that you can buy these packs of paper, and they're already coordinated for those of us that are maybe a little bit challenged in that area. You'll have lots of coordinating patterns that you can choose from. And it's simply a matter of cutting them to the box size and fitting them in. Now, a couple of things that I did do, just like Cheryl did. Cheryl used the glue dots. Behind each one of these patterned pieces of paper are a couple of glue dots because I wanted to have it not fall out when I attach some of the pieces to it. And then because this is made up of many pieces and I want to hang it on the wall, I did the glue dots on the back as well, so that when the piece actually fits into the box, it has it's actually glued down to the base piece. A couple of other things I wanted to share with you. You can see how very many different hearts we swapped with each other, and I don't have the names in the actual front of the display. But what I did do is make a template of the box, and on the back of this I have everybody's name and their position on the display, and I'll be able to put this on the back for reference, and I'll always know who gave which heart. So that was really great. The next thing I wanted to share with you is some of the hearts. Most of them are mounted with the foam dots because it gives it a little bit of height and dimension, but some of them, this one and the one that Cheryl did, are actually hanging on a little hook. And I was just so thrilled to be able to find these command hooks. You won't be able to see them very well, I don't think. Let me see if I can find here's the packaging that comes with it. But these are command hooks, and they're really small, and they're clear transparent, which is nice because it doesn't interfere with any of the artwork. So at any rate, they're just simple little hooks, and they have that little bit of glue, and you can remove them. So that's also nice that they're removable. And once you have those attached, there's one right up here. It might be a little bit tough to see. We'll go ahead and just be able to attach that, and then we'll be able to hang the heart. And I think that looks really sweet, the way that's attached there. And I'll do the same with this piece. And I will actually use the glue dot to do the final mounting for this piece. So that's how the box turned out, and I think it's both of these are different in their application and use of materials, but they're great display pieces.
And the hearts all individually are so well displayed that you can appreciate each one,
yeah,
and not lose each individual artist's piece and how they've used color and style for their heart.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really nice to be able to go back and look at this. I'm going to go ahead, Cheryl, and adjust the camera for just a little bit, and we'll do our closing remarks. Cheryl, that was a lot of fun.
It was, and I can't believe that we've each finished a box today.
I know. We did really good work. We got a lot done. I was really glad to be able to take Sweet Willow Designs out on the road and visit your home studio. That was really a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed being with you today. I know that you had something that you wanted to share, though, as another idea that you're considering.
Well, as a result of the shadow box we just finished, I decided to keep this piece aside, and it is a very large family brooch with the photo of my aunt back in 1948 when she was wearing the brooch and the matching earrings, which just make the piece stunning. I decided not to include it in the shadow box that we're doing today, and I've put it aside, and I will be shopping at the next thrift shop visit, or maybe at one of the local stores for a special box that's sized that will really show this piece off with the photo. And I think at that point I'll be cherishing that project in the future to come. So you have to really look at some of the things that you've tucked away that are very precious as far as memories, and bring those out. Set them on the table. Take a look at them. Think about putting them in a shadow box.
Yeah, I think that's so special because those were really special pieces to you. So it's really nice to set them aside by themselves. I think that'll be really fun. So yeah, you know what I had fun doing is taking those ugly paper bags of stuff that had been...
Well, and you still have one more.
I have one more to do. We'll see what comes of that one. But taking that wrinkled paper bag and turning it into something that I can really look at and enjoy and share with other people, as they come stop by and take a look at them. So it was really great to be able to get those projects finished, but it was really terrific to have my audience meet you and for you to share the work that you've been doing with them.
Well, it's been wonderful having you today.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it. Thanks. And thanks, everybody. Thanks for joining me in my studio. I hope you enjoyed this. Please consider subscribing to my channel, giving me a thumbs up, or leaving a comment. I really enjoy hearing from you. So thanks so much again for joining me in the studio, and take care. Thanks again for watching. I hope you enjoyed this collaboration video. Take a look at some of the other polymer clay and jewelry making tutorials that I have. I hope you enjoy them. Thanks a lot for watching, and take care.